Hello, I'm Kevin McCormick and welcome to this episode of Lake Orion Sports Update. Today we're going to bring you the latest news in Lake Orion sports, including basketball, hockey, wrestling, and a lot more, all coming up right now. On Tuesday, February 23rd, the girls basketball team traveled to Royal Oak. Lake Orion was looking to recover from their unfortunate loss to North Farmington the previous week of the season. The Dragons started the first quarter with a 2-point lead against the Ravens with a score of 11-9. In the second quarter, the Dragons put up 16 points, while Royal Oak only managed to score 6. Lake Orion kept up the lead in the third quarter, scoring 12 points, although the Ravens outscored the Lady Dragons by 1 point in the third quarter. The Dragons finished strong with a final score of 43-29. This notched Coach Roberts' 200th win as the Dragon Girls coach in his 17 years. Evelyn Wishmeyer scored 14 points and Lauren Thorne added 10. On Friday, February 26th, the girls traveled to Farmington Harrison for their OAA crossover game. Harrison started out with the lead, scoring 25 points, while the Dragons took 20. Lake Orion was able to outscore Harrison in the second quarter by 5 points. After halftime, the Dragons continued to score more than their opponents, scoring 12 points to Harrison's 7. Harrison fought hard in the final quarter of play, scoring a whopping 10 points over the Dragons. The final score was Farmington 69, Lake Orion 64. Maddie Novak tied her career high with 35 points. On Wednesday, March 2nd, the girls hosted Waterford Mott at the Fieldhouse for the district opener. The game was close in the beginning, and the Dragons soon took a 10-point lead. They would hang on to that lead until the end of the third quarter and led by just 5 at that point. Midway through the fourth quarter, the Dragons' Maddie Novak left the game after falling awkwardly on her knee. She had a game-high 17 points. Evelyn Wishmeyer scored to tie the game with 47 seconds left in regulation, sending the game into overtime. After a tough overtime performance, the final score was Waterford Mott 49, Lake Orion 47. The Dragons finished their season 12-9. On Thursday, February 24th, the boys basketball team hosted their rivals, the Oxford Wildcats, at the Lake Orion Fieldhouse. Oxford jumped to a quick 15-10 lead, but the Dragons didn't falter and fought back, outscoring Oxford 26-9 in the second quarter of play. Once Lake Orion was ahead, they cruised to a 13-point victory. David Gomez scored a game-high 29 points, and Noah Harris chipped in 15. The final score was Lake Orion 72, Oxford 59. On Friday, February 26th, the boys traveled to Lapeer High School. The two teams started off evenly matched in the first quarter, each scoring 11 points. It was in the second quarter that the Lightning began to separate from the Dragons, scoring a 4-point lead. After the halftime break, Lapeer kept a small but steady lead against Lake Orion, scoring 30 points to the Dragons' 24. The Lapeer Lightning then took the win by a final score of 59-49. On Tuesday, March 1st, the boys team traveled to Seaholm High School. The teams were tied up at the end of the first quarter with 14 points apiece. After the second quarter of play, the Dragons only led by 3 points with a score of 26-23. During the second half of the game, Lake Orion put up a strong defensive effort against the Maples and kept the lead going, scoring 36 points to Seaholm's 29. The Dragons won by a final score of 62-52, and David Gomez scored a game-high 25 points. Chris Dudek chipped in 13. On Thursday, March 3rd, the boys hosted Groves High School in their OAA crossover game. Both teams battled back and forth, changing the lead numerous times. Lake Orion fought back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to win the game. The final score was Lake Orion 54, Birmingham Groves 50. David Gomez scored a game-high 29 points, and Noah Harris contributed 9. On Monday, March 7th, the boys basketball team traveled to Waterford Kettering for their Class A pre-district game. The first half was close, with Lake Orion only leading by 7 at halftime after a 10-3 scoring run. The Dragons kicked it into gear in the second half, led by David Gomez. He scored 25 of his 31 game-high points in the second half of the game. The Dragons went on a 10-0 scoring lead run in the third quarter and continued to pull away in the fourth. The final score was Lake Orion 56, Waterford Kettering 43. On Wednesday, March 9th, the boys played their district semifinal game against Pontiac. The Phoenix jumped out to an 8-0 lead and kept the pressure on the Dragons. The whole game was a defensive battle, with Pontiac trying to shut down David Gomez. Even with the pressure on him, Gomez scored a game-high 22 points. That wasn't enough, though, as the Dragons fell by a score of 62-38. The boys finished their season 13-10. The Lake Orion hockey team held a home game against the Romeo Bulldogs at the Detroit Skating Club on February 25th. The Bulldogs were the first to score, scoring 1 point in the first period, but the Dragons were unable to make it past the Romeo goalie. During the second period of the game, neither team was able to put the puck in the net, leaving the score at 1-0 in Romeo's favor. The team started picking up the pace in the third period, however, each scoring several goals. Sadly for the Dragons, Romeo was able to maintain the lead and scored 4 goals, while Lake Orion only managed to score 2. The Bulldogs won the game with a final score of 5-2. Jake Chappie and Connor Graham were the goal scorers for Lake Orion, and Jack Barker was in goal. On Saturday, February 27th, the Dragons traveled to the Novi Ice Arena to play against the Novi Wildcats. The teams both started out of the game the same page, each scoring 1 goal in the first period. Lake Orion's Jake Chappie scored on a power play and was assisted by Drew Casey and Bridger Stevenson during the next 17 minutes of game action. Novi managed to put another goal past goaltender Jack Barker, which was the only goal of the period. The two teams failed to put any goals in the net during the third period, giving Novi the win with a final score of 2-1. Lake Orion's next game would be at home against Rochester United on February 29th for the first round of the playoffs. A little over 3 minutes into the first, Rochester United was able to score off a rebound despite Jack Barker's solid goaltending with 9 minutes and 23 seconds left in the first period. Drew Casey brought the puck from the Lake Orion zone and passed it to Joe Brisky for the second goal of the game. At the 5:27 mark, Rochester United's Drew Dissinger scored off another rebound. The score was 2-1 at the beginning of the second period, which was a back-and-forth battle between the teams. Neither Lake Orion nor Rochester United could put any goals up in the second period. The last 17 minutes of play would be where the majority of the goals were scored. Near the 12-minute mark, Rochester United's Ethan Fuller passed the puck from point to Michael Rittner, who was able to sneak the puck right past the goalie with just under 10 minutes left in the game. Drew Casey received the pass from teammate Joe Brisky and shot the puck right into Rochester United's net. With only a 1-point difference between the teams, Lake Orion pushed hard to try to put more goals in. Unfortunately for the Dragons, Rochester United would put up another goal on a power play with 4 minutes 45 seconds left, making it a 2-point lead with 13 seconds left. Rochester United then sealed the deal with an empty net goal, winning the game with a final score of 5-2. Lake Orion ended their season with 10 points. On Wednesday, March 2nd, the OAA White Boys Swimming Championships took place at Lake Orion. The Dragons finished second in the meet behind Harrison, but won the championship title because of a 5-0 conference record and a 9-1 season record. Harrison took second in the league title. This is the third time that Lake Orion has won the OAA championships in school history, so congratulations to the Lake Orion boys swimming team on your championship victory. From Thursday, March 3rd through Saturday, March 5th, the Palace of Auburn Hills hosted the Michigan High School Wrestling Individual State Tournament. Lake Orion had 2 wrestlers qualify. Brendan Thompson made his second consecutive appearance at individual states at 285 pounds. Thompson first faced off against Andrew Brown of Caledonia. Thompson led by a hard-fought decision of 5-4. His next opponent would be Zach Doran of North Farmington. Thompson pinned Doran with only 43 seconds into the first period. His third opponent would be Dan Perry of Lapeer. This was another hard-fought match from Thompson, but he lost to Perry by a score of 5-2. Noah Smith qualified in the 130-pound weight class. His first opponent was Nick Freeman of Walled Lake Central. It was a tough match, with Freeman claiming the victory with a score of 4-3. In the second round, Smith beat Bradley James of Southgate by a score of 3-2. In the third round, Smith faced Vince Marceau of Utica Eisenhower. Marceau defeated Smith 4-0. On Saturday, February 27th, Lake Orion competitive cheer team traveled to Brighton High School for the Division I regional competition. A total of 12 teams competed for a chance at one of the 4 spots to move onward to the finals. Defending state champion Granville won first place with a score of 782.84 points. East Kentwood was in second place with 779.98, and the Dragons took third with a score of 778.82 points. The fourth slot was taken by Hudsonville. These 4 teams would move on to the finals the following Friday in Grand Rapids. This would be Lake Orion's 3rd consecutive trip to the finals. After a long day of fierce competitions, The Dragons took home sixth place with a total score of 781.36 points. Rochester was the state champion, beating out the second place team Granville by a close margin. This was Rochester's first division title since 2009. Thanks for watching today's episode of Lake Orion Sports Update and for watching our winter sports coverage. We'll see you next time when we start covering spring sports right here on ONTV.